They say the most wealthy man ever died alone, miserable, with no power due to the circumstances. And the thing that stressed him the most on the end of his days was, why did he have so much money and no power? And then you turn the other page, you looked at all the people that had all the power and they didn't have no money. So that was the biggest question they kept asking, and that's what drove that man insane, having to think that for the rest of his life, that he had money, but he owed everybody who had power. So then we observed this man's situation, his predicament, and everything else that had to go on with his full situation, his full life. And then everybody thought about that in the end. Who really has the money? The ones with the money or the ones with the power? Or the ones with the money holding the money for the ones with the power? So that's what it came down to. Would you rather have all the money or all the power? And then the man that died with all the money alone, with no power, everybody fought over his money in the end. And he was alone. He didn't have a family. So all the people with the power fought over his money in the end. But you could look at it, you could look at it whatever way you want. The glass is half empty or it's half full. So, you know, it just goes how it goes. But overall, I don't think it's really that bad. Your situation that you have, that you living in. But then the other man with the money realizes he does have a lot of money, but he's just always paying bills. And he's giving all his money to the people with the power. But then there's just a small percentage of people that are actually getting over and are wealthy with enough money to retire, enough money to leave for their family. But that's the biggest question, the biggest mistake. And then you also can't disrespect the people with the power at the same time. You know, you may have some money. What you have to do to get that money after that? Are you willing to live with that? So that's the type of things you gotta analyze in life. Are you really winning with that money? What do you owe for that money that you took? So analyze that if you want to talk about money and power. We can analyze that.